there, and welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits. Coming to you from the Recycle Garage.
Coming to you from Grandpa's Scrotum.
In sunny Santa Cruz, California. Well, overcast, but I'm liking it.
We are the
really hot everywhere
We're the
else.
overcasters, darling.
Hey everyone, this is Liza, and I'm running on fumes. But we got a big show. I'm really excited.
And they smell of egg.
Stop. I'm excited about it.
Very good. Yes.
Joining me here
Who?
on the Classy Girl
Where?
couch tonight,
Why?
the head wanker herself.
The head wanker, blimey.
It's Miss Emma.
Hello, darlings.
Thank you for running the garage today.
No, it's okay. We had a good crowd today.
Yeah, you did. I was out. I was away. I came home.
No, I
and
mean, it was a
there was a
good-
party going on.
There was a good selection of different bikes. We had
I know.
lots. Yeah.
Little two strokes.
Yeah, little two-stroke was
little,
cool. That
little two
Suzuki.
smokers. Yeah, well, there's two of them.
Yeah.
Also joining me in the studio, it's Stumpy John.
What's up? I'm so happy to be back. Been gone
Stumpy.
for a couple weeks.
We're getting the band back
The
together.
stump is here, baby.
But of course, it wouldn't be the band without Bagel, who's playing catch up. He'll be in soon, so I'll announce him when he comes in. So I did a thing. I went to a place.
I know you did, but you didn't go to the rally because that was already over.
Right. So I went to not Sturgis, but everywhere near Sturgis.
Right.
And went to the WEMA rally. So this is kind of an interesting story.
Yes.
WEMA, Women's International Motorcycle Association, was actually started, I think Michelle's going to kill me on this. I think it was back in the 50s. A woman here in the U.S. started it. And it grew to become an international organization. And there are WEMA International. Every country has these WEMA groups, and they have an international rally every year where people from different countries come.
That's
It's really
great.
cool.
Right.
And the one here in this country about 20, 25 years ago kind of fizzled out. And there hasn't been a WEMA USA for a couple decades, even though it started here.
Got to fix that.
And so Michelle Lamphere said, well, I'll be the one to bring it back.
Oh, that's great.
So she's been bringing it back. And this was the first WEMA rally. And there was like 25, 27 of us all gathered in Custer, South Dakota.
From all over the country, or where?
Yeah. And the UK.
The Yuk.
Yeah. Shout out to Laura, who came all the way from the UK.
And this was like a street rider rally, or
Yeah, so basically it's a gathering of women riders of all different types of bikes, many who rode in from around the country, all over, and doing day rides and then gatherings at night.
super fun.
And then some games and stuff. Oh, there was a game that they did last night. We're going to have to do here in the garage. Oh, I think he's here. It's Bagel.
Oh, it is the Bagel.
Hello.
Hello,
It is
Bagler.
I.
Hey,
Bagel.
Bagler, did you buy yourself an Honda?
Well,
Oh, you did. Look
Check
at
it
that.
Oh, check it out.
Look at that little.
Super cool.
What is that, like a 78? What is it?
nope.
Pack ahead.
1982 CT70.
Oh, wow.
Well done.
Congratulations, dude.
Did you pee?
Yeah,
did you
thanks.
pee in the airbox and give him $300?
I did not pee in the airbox. There was no airbox, just a pod filter.
What did you pee on the pod filter and say? You have a rodent
Did you
problem.
get it for less than $2,000?
Yes.
Wow.
Did you get it for less
Yes, I got
than $1,000?
No, not quite.
Okay.
It was $12.50.
Not bad. I
Wow.
tell you what.
Yeah, that's-
Take it to Vintage Motorcycle.
And
Doesn't flip
I-
it for 3 times.
Well, I know what you're going to do with it, and I completely endorse that.
Wait.
Yep.
What's he
What's he
going to
gonna
do
do
with
with
it?
I'm going to make a mini trail 110.
So a long time ago, did I sell it to you or give it to you?
Yes. Yes, you did. You sold
Oh,
it.
the 110 you have, yeah.
Yeah, the 110. Which there was all kinds of issues with it. That there was no spark and no title and all kinds of good stuff. And I said to Bagel, I said,
Yeah.
now look, you're going to look at this bike and you're going to say to yourself, this is in great condition. And I said, do not get attached to this bike. There's no title with it for a start, and there's no spark, and both of which are really going to hurt you because it got this weird 1 year only 6-volt electronic ignition on it. And I said, don't get attached to it. Put that engine in something else. And this was only, 5 years ago? Right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so now you finally bought a
Yep.
bike to put the engine in. Well done, you.
Exactly.
I'm proud of you, Bagel.
It's like you got a Yoshimura pipe on that thing,
thank you.
too.
It does, and it is loud as hell because the baffle's removed out of it.
It's a Two Brothers.
But I would like to go back to a stock pipe if I could. But,
well, you can get
stock
them.
Style pipe, but
yeah, you can get them.
But it would have to be a high flow enough pipe for a 110. But I'll see. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff.
Well,
out
I think
there.
the 110's got an exhaust on it, hasn't it?
Well, it does, but it's a lot bigger than the CT70.
Yeah, that's a cool exhaust. That exhaust should work,
I think.
Shouldn't it?
It's just loud, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Well,
good.
it would, but it's not the look I want to go for.
Yeah. Well,
But I've got plans,
well, congratulations.
and I'm hoping. Thanks. I'm hoping to have it done for Mid Ohio next year.
Awesome. You going to ride it to Mid-Ohio?
It's
Ooh, you
No.
should.
and it's got turn signals. Does that mean it's plated?
It is. It is
that's
plated.
great.
The thing is, it's been out of the system for so long that the DMV has to go and pull out the records from the archive, and then have to do like a title search thing because the owner didn't have a title for it, which is part of the reason why I got it for so cheap.
Yeah.
It's also not running super great. It's got a Chinese carb on it. It's not jetted right, and all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, it's I'm going to swap the engine in it anyway, so that doesn't really matter.
Cool.
So, but it's a great project bike, and it's something I've been kicking around for quite a while, and I'm glad I finally had a chance to jump on it.
Well done, Bagel. You now own a motorcycle. Hey, I tell you what, though.
A proper motorbike.
It is a proper motorbike. I was reading the ad, and it said that he had the original tail light and turn signals. Is that true? I mean, it's a complete bike, right?
Yes, see, it does have them. Although the original taillight bracket is broken, it's a two-piece where the taillight, like the taillight mount, goes into the main bracket. Like the welds broke off, so I'll just get that rewelded and repainted. So,
cool.
Not a big deal.
Well, and the thing I love about these bikes, and hopefully those are the original tires, because once they're that age, they will never wear out.
Yes, I believe they are.
Riding on a bowling ball.
It's now lifetime tires. Well, hey, I was just sharing.
Lifetime.
I was just sharing a story of a game we played at the WEMA rally that
Yes.
I think we should try here. And babe, you may even want to do it at some of your scooter rallies. It transfers over. So it was
what is
simple.
it? Wet the bed.
It was they had a 5-gallon bucket full of ice and water. And then they dropped into the bucket things like cotter pin, a Schrader valve, just all these, a nut, just little things you find on a motorcycle. And then basically we took turns. You were told you need to find the rubber grommet. And you have to stick your hand down into this bucket of ice and water and dig around and try and find whatever the item you've been assigned and bring it back up. And of course your hand is getting more and more numb.
Right.
As time is going on.
So it might feel really good on a hot day.
It reminds me of a game that we used to play in school. And what you would do is you would when you go on holiday to the retreat, and you were all in dormitory sleeping, you would get a bucket of warm water, and it's very important that you had to have warm water, and then you'd go up to somebody and you'd put their hand in the bucket of warm water and they'd pee the bed.
Yep.
Guaranteed. It's absolutely guaranteed.
And you could light farts too.
Yes. No, we didn't do the lighting farts, but
it works.
You'd put the comrade's hand in the bucket of warm water and they'd piss the bed. Guaranteed.
So, and as you know, I have the KLR out there.
Yes, the blue one.
Yes.
Which was another bargain from Mototown.
Yeah, so I got to ride the KLR around. And
was it a nostalgic journey for you, dear?
Which part?
Riding your old KLR.
I never really rode it before. So.
Well, I know.
I got more time on that than anybody else.
Yeah, I know.
Does it still ride good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is a great bike for there because most people are riding big cruisers around there. It's sweeping hills. You get into like some of the parks and are doing really tight hairpin turns, but they're like 5-mile-an-hour turns.
Right.
And you have so many RVs and tourists and buffalo and shit that no one's
really
going fast.
can't.
So the KLR will go anywhere.
Greatest
and do
motorcycle
anything,
in the world.
but it's still fun on and flickable on the turns. And then you can also go in the dirt on it, go everywhere.
It's the greatest motorcycle in the world.
It was, but then when I was trying to...
So if a buffalo gives you a dirty look and then runs away across the field, you can chase after it and give it a very stern talking to.
So I did see the buffalo.
And
that wasn't the problem.
they're not the best looking animals, really, are they? You know, when looks were doled out to animals, I don't think buffaloes were quite very high on
No, the
list.
buffalo are cool.
They're quite majestic.
I don't know if you can see the scab on my lip.
I thought that was herpes.
No, that's where the donkey bit me.
What?
You were giving a donkey a French kiss and it bit you. Liza,
you
no
were a
kissing
snack.
the donkey.
Well,
So that's what you give for going to a donkey show.
Well, before we went into the park, I'm like, oh, I got to go get some donkey food. And some of the girls are like, what? What's donkey food? So I go over to the grocery store. I took Laura with me, and I got a bag of carrots, a bag of apples. I go to the cashier. She goes, oh, you're going to feed the donkeys. I'm like, yeah, see? She knows. So we go to the park, and you find the donkeys. The donkeys are at Custer State Park. And here's kind of the cool story. These are the descendants of the donkeys from when they used to do the donkey rides, and then they stopped doing donkey rides, so they just released them in the park. So now
These are donkeys with a grudge.
no,
Because Grandpa...
no, these are donkeys living the life. This is reparations.
No, it is, but these donkeys are pissed that Grandpa had to give insufferable
no,
children
not pissed
rides.
at all, because they're lived their life walking around the
Well, the
park, having
fucker
tourists
bit you.
Living their
feed
best
them.
life.
So explain why you got bitten by one.
On the lip.
Because I put the carrot in my mouth
Oh,
so I could get a kiss,
God
and then the
almighty.
donkey just went took my whole face.
Tell me somebody's got a picture of that or a video.
Oh, God almighty.
It just bled a little
That's great.
bit.
Just a
No,
little bit.
It was being quite gentle as it could, but yes, I got a mouthful of donkey.
Gentle but
or it got a
enthusiastic.
mouthful of me.
Did you slip at the tongue?
Oh, God.
What kind of breath do donkeys have? I imagine it's pretty grim.
Mostly smells like carrots and apples.
What does they taste like?
and saltines,
Their mouth
what
tastes-
all the tourists are
Did
feeding
you get like the saliva as well?
No.
So they're probably quite dry in the mouth.
No, they have quite supple lips, you know.
Right.
But then they have all that hair. I would assume it's much like kissing John.
Oh, God.
Then it was the best kiss we've
Well,
ever
look,
had.
he's got quite supple lips too. He's
I
got
do.
all that
I wouldn't know.
hair around it.
I have great lips.
Okay, we're just derailing right now.
This is a motorcycle podcast, you know.
Yes, I do know. But here I am, like riding this KLR, perfectly happy, and then Michelle's KLR is there. Laura's
Right.
riding it, so having somebody riding the same kind of bike is
Yeah.
great. But even when we went for a group ride, and we had people with like Victory and a Harley, and we had people with Triumph Tigers, we had all different types of bikes in the group. Everyone can ride together
Great.
in these kind of hills. We're all competent riders. So doing hairpins and all sorts of stuff. Really great. Except the KLRs could go do the dirt.
Right.
That's the big difference. And there's a lot of dirt. A lot of it is just dirt roads that just end out in a field, and you're just going down a dirt road past mailboxes. Next thing you know, on a Jeep track and looking
Right.
at like woods.
See, my question is it kind of different out there too? You see, California, we get used to, certainly in coastal California, everything is owned. So sooner or later, you're going to end up on someone's land and, you know, you get guns pulled on you and God knows what.
No.
Whereas out there,
They have fire roads everywhere.
I was going to say, it strikes me there's probably a lot more
It's all
public land.
A lot of public land, yeah.
Yeah.
You can just ride. Well, and this isn't public land, but right behind, up the hill from her house is a gravel yard for a construction crew.
Oh, that's
That
fine.
is basically my play area, because it's got, you know, the hard packed gravel over here, and it's got the soft gravel, and now it's got the mud and the puddles, and then it's got grass over here, you know,
good practice.
weeds, and that's where we go. I take people up there, and we're just sliding around.
Where are the gravel men when this is going?
Not there. This is just the storage yard, but there's no gates or anything.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's great. I have a great time there, but when I'm trying to explain to women who've only ridden cruisers
Right.
what the KLR is like, because I'm like, this is the perfect bike for here. I can go everywhere, do everything. And then when I'm trying to explain to somebody on, say, a Harley or Victory, I'm like, you want to try it? Oh, I should prepare you. You'll hate it. You're going to go, why would anyone ride this kind of abomination? It feels like a tractor.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a 2x4 for a seat. There's nothing you would like about it. other than the fact it can go anywhere.
I mean, as someone who's not the world's greatest fan of KLR 650s, no, I think you're really not.
But when you're explaining to somebody who's used to riding a big bagger, and you're like, you want to try it? Oh, let me prepare you.
Well, I would argue that after a big bagger, I mean, a KLR 650 is really quite agile. You know?
Maybe.
In a different way.
If you're not used to it. Got to see Mount Rushmore and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to the other memorial that you just built?
Crazy Horse, you go by it all the time.
Yeah, it's great. I went in there when I was there.
It's between here and there. Oh, I did a favor for Michelle that I think was unappreciated.
Oh?
Yeah, well, a lot of the women who were gathering in her yard behind the motel were smoking. And one of the women who was a smoker said, oh, I notice a lot of people are smoking. They don't know where to put their butts. So I'm like, well, let's find something. Hey, let's go over. There's an antique mall over here. So I went to an antique mall. I'm looking at like coffee cans and buckets. And I'm like, I found the perfect thing. So I got it, purchased it, took it back, presented it to Michelle. Here you go. It's a antique bedpan for everyone to put their butts in.
Oh, that's perfect.
And she's like, thanks.
Does she smoke?
No. Because I put a bedpan in her yard, and she's like, I thought it was brilliant.
I think she's probably concerned that someone's going to use it, and she'll get up in the morning, there'll be a turd in there or something.
Well, yeah. So that was a great...
So that was your ride report.
That was my ride report.
I know you've got a ride report coming, John.
I do,
but we're going to hold off on that because we want Matt here and Naked Jim. But you had a good time, didn't you?
We had such a blast. We went up to Mendocino.
Yes.
National Forest, a group of us. It was incredible.
I'm not done. I had one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
I have a list here.
Oh, okay.
So, at one of the women who normally rides Harleys, and she rides Harleys, shout out to Linda. We had a great chat. We were going for a ride through Custer State Park, not a big ride, and I said, hey, you want to come? Just hop on the back of my bike, because she's having eye surgery soon, so she couldn't ride. She just came to help out. Hop on the back. I'll take you. We're just going to do a nice, easy ride. So as we're doing this ride, we're just kind of chatting, right? And I'm waving to bikers. There's bikers everywhere. And some of the Harleys aren't waving back. And she's a Harley rider. So I'm like, what's up with your people? Why aren't they waving back? She's like, I mean, come on. It's like, I don't have the energy to wave to every single person. I mean, she's like, no, I mean, especially when there's a lot of bikes out, I don't wave back. And I'm like, wait a minute.
You're breaking the code.
Wait a minute. What? You're one of them? You're one of the ones that doesn't wave back?
Oh, nasty business.
And she's like, no, I mean, I wave back. I mean, sometimes, but it just depends if I'm not paying attention or I'm not looking.
She's not waving back if you're not on a Harley.
And I'm like, hold on, I got a problem with this. I said, and in fact, tell you what, new game, it's called, I'm going to wave at every biker that comes by. And if it's a Harley and they don't wave, I'm going to whack you on the leg. And guess what? Let's make it fair. If it's not a Harley and they don't wave, you can whack me. Mm-hmm. Well, guess who got all the whacks?
Well, of course.
Yeah, well, we know who.
So I'm whacking her on the leg, right? And she's like, stop that. So now it's in her best interest to get them to wave. So she's on the back of my bike just waving, really exaggerating, like waving, trying to get them to wave back so she doesn't get thumped. And I said, this right here is called conditioning.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So, Emma, what do they do in England? Do you just nod? Or because you're not going to...
Well, yeah, because you
can't pull your hand off the throttle.
You really can't pull your hand off the throttle. So generally, it's just a nod.
Like, isn't it?
Yeah, but in England, everyone's very jealous of the people who drive on the other side of the road because you can wave properly. Yeah. But generally, it's a nod. Because you don't want to release your throttle hand.
No.
Because everyone in England...
Gives it the beans?
All the time. It's all about giving it the beans all the time. So if you let off your throttle hand, it's death. It's just instant death. Because decelerating your bike inadvertently, just to wave at somebody...
Does it suck in the beans when you decelerate?
I don't know. Probably.
Well, I also did further develop my biker wave Rochambeau.
What?
Have I not told you about this?
No.
Biker wave Rochambeau. So when you see an approaching biker, I gauge by the type of bike what kind of wave they might do. Okay. And so I
Yeah.
decided, so like the basic waves are the 2 finger,
Right.
the 1 finger, or the hand, right?
Yeah, but it depends on how because the Harley guys will like way down.
Right. Well, we'll get to that. So I decided Rochambeau. 2 fingers beats 1 finger. 1 finger beats a hand. Hand beats 2 fingers. So you try and guess what wave they're going to give you, and then you give them a wave. I'm like, oh, it's another Harley. They're going to give me the 2 finger. I'm going to give them
The 1 finger. Oh no.
no the hand. The hand. Right. Yeah. 2 beats 1. 1 beats paper.
Okay.
Paper beats 2. And so I was playing Biker Wave Rochambeau. It then went another level. Then there's more point systems coming into play, which you also have to guess how low they're going to hang their hand out.
Yep.
Okay. Whoever hangs their hand out lower wins a point. But if you go more than 6 inches lower than them, you lose a point.
Oh.
Right. If you match, then no point to either. But so you have to guess where they're going to go. And then there's, it's a whole, it became very complicated.
Too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Well, but here's another thing I was working on while I was there.
Yes.
You know, I love to try and work on bikes, but I came into a bike that I could not get running.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, I need to ask Miss Emma for help with this.
Okay.
In fact, I have the owner of the bike with us right now.
Oh,
to ask for help.
Who is that owner?
Michelle, are you there?
Oh, it's Michelle.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
And she's on duty
How's
at the
the
desk,
gang?
so she may have to run away.
Oh, really? Are you on duty at the Motel Custer?
I am. Yeah, I'm working hard.
Hardly working. What time is it there, darling?
That's more like it, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
It is just after 7.
Oh, okay. So not late.
And if you recognize
No.
that voice, this is Michelle from Adventure Rider Radio Raw podcast.
Yeah.
You're big time.
Thanks
Michelle.
for letting me join you.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So, all right, real quickly, Emma.
Yes.
Michelle has a bunch of bikes there that
Yes.
anyone can go ride. And
Yes.
one of them is this great little XT225
I read
Yes.
it, Yep.
carbureted bike
Yes.
that for the life of me, I could not get started. Not only could not get started, could not get a single sputter.
Oh, no. And,
So-
and I can tell you why.
No.
It's quite a common problem.
Well, hold on. I'll tell you what I did do.
Yes.
I did spray. I took out the fuel, the air filter.
Yes.
Sprayed starter fluid
won't
right in the
happen.
pipe. Nothing.
No.
Took the spark plug out. Confirmed spark.
But it's
sprayed
not-
fluid down the spark plug hole.
Yes.
Nothing. Not a single. Not
Nothing.
nothing.
Yes.
As if it had no compression,
Right,
no
right,
fuel, no
right.
nothing.
Yes.
So Michelle's like, no, it'll start. I'm like, oh no, this is like,
Yes.
it's major. It's
No,
you
I
need,
know what's wrong with
it's
this
got
bike.
a big problem. And Michelle's like, no. So let Michelle describe her special little machine.
And Miss Emma, I'm so sorry because you're obviously, I think you've already probably diagnosed this because I heard you say common problem. But let me just say, I got the strangest looks when I said, I know what my bike likes. My bike likes to sit in the sunshine with the sun warming up that side of the engine where the carburetor is.
Yes, it does.
And it's so silly. It's a cold starting girl. So I
Yes.
sit her in the sun. She's a bit finicky. I get it. I know the carburetor problem. And I'll give you a couple of details in a sec. But I said, you guys, eventually what they did was, of course, kill the battery because they kept trying to start it. But you can tell I know the bike. I don't know exactly how to fix the problem. But if I sit it in the sun on a warm day,
It'll start.
sideways, and it starts right up.
Yeah,
But
because it's
got
not a
little bit of
carburetor
band-
problem.
Oh, okay.
So the XT225 is an odd little bike. When Yamaha made that bike, it was built basically from a dirt bike. So if you look at the side casing, the right-hand side casing, you'll see a hole for the kickstart. But of course, the kickstart isn't there. They put an electric start on it. But what
Right.
they didn't realize was they were concerned that when you press the button, it had sucked so much power out of the generator that it wouldn't develop enough spark to spark the bike. So what they did was they put a tiny little generator of its own just for the sparks, and it fails. And how that manifests itself is if you lay the plug on the bike, you'll get a spark. I mean, it's very feeble, but you'll get a spark. So you think, oh, I've got a spark. It's not enough spark. And when you leave it in the sun, it warms up the bike sufficiently that it can turn over quickly and actually fire it up. So the fix is there's two ways you're going to be able to start your bike. First is make sure that you've got the greatest battery in the world. All right?
Yeah.
And that means a Yuasa and a fairly young one. These XT225s respond very well if you crank the bike for a second, take your finger off the button, and then crank it a second time. And it should fire right up because you're kind of fooling the pulse generator. If it doesn't do that, you're going to need to put a new generator in it.
Okay.
It's not a carburetor problem. It's a generator problem. So try that. Try that first. Just crank it for like a couple of seconds. Take your finger off the start button and then hit it again. And it should fire right up. When they're kind of on the brink, they'll do that. And you can kick that can down the road for a year. But if it doesn't do it, you're going to have to put a generator in it. It's a very common problem with XT225s.
That is super helpful, and I appreciate it.
No,
I've got a couple more details.
Yeah, please.
Just in case it's of interest and makes any difference. So obviously it's got a petcock valve, and when that is on, the fuel is left on, it's dripping. So it's actually just kind of a steady drip.
No, that's
not too worried about it. But the difference is it also has an aftermarket Safari tank on it. So I get a more extended range when I'm out on dirt trails, etc. So what I suspected, and I told Liza, and I'm probably completely wrong, especially based on what you're saying, was that the fuel, the way that Safari tank is designed is there are low spots on either side of the frame where the tank kind of hangs down a bit lower.
Yes.
And there's fuel in the bottom of it, but there's not because obviously gravity fed, I assume there's maybe a higher point where it's draining into the tank, or down into the line and into the carburetor. So I thought that the fuel was maybe a little bit low. And what I did was throw a gallon of gas in it and set it in the sun, and it started right up. But it's got a spot very quickly in the throttle where it's just too rich. So it actually starts to sputter and die if I give it any throttle. And I've had the carburetor cleaned, rebuilt. It's just kind of a crummy. I think it's a Mikuni carb.
Yeah, it's a little CV carb. They're not the best carburetors, but these are not the greatest starting bikes in the world. And they never have been. And the other one is the T-Dub. The T-Dub's terrible starting bikes. Shares the same. It shares the same generator problem. No, you got generator problems, son. And it's very, very well documented. If you do a Google search on XT225 generator starting problems, you'll read everything you need to know about it. It's very common.
I trust that you are giving me the right direction.
Well, because it's easy to go down the rabbit hole of the carburetor. And you think, oh, it's the carburetor, it's the carburetor. It's not. It's the generator.
That's what I've been thinking.
Yeah, and it's just that little bit of heat. It allows the engine to spin that little bit quicker. And remember, when you've got a little bit of heat on the engine, even that little bit of residual heat on the cylinder head just helps with the combustion. I mean, it's not that you don't have... It's not that you have no spark. It's a very, very feeble spark. Now, once it's started for the day, it'll run for the remainder of the day, of course.
That's exactly right. As soon as it's hot, it stops and restarts fantastically.
But in the winter time and in the fall and in the spring, it's an absolute bugger to start just first thing in the morning. After that, it's great.
Exactly.
So try that trick. Try that trick. Crank it a couple of seconds, take your finger off the button, and then press it again. And it might fire right up because you're fooling the pulse generator. If it doesn't do that, you're just going to have to put a generator in it. And they ain't cheap. Genuine Yamaha one's about $250.
Ouch.
You can buy Chinese ones for probably less than 100. It's a crapshoot, though. I know a couple of people have put Chinese ones in, and they've lasted for a long time. And I know other people, it's like started once and it's junk. So,
all right.
Well, there you go, Michelle. Aren't you glad we got Ask Miss Emma here? I never would have gotten that.
Absolutely.
I would like a report. I would like a report from you how you're getting on with that, dear. And
I will do.
XT225 is a great little bike.
They are, but I think it'd be better if I lived in Arizona.
Well, did you know that bike has a name? It's actually got
the Cerro?
The Cerro Mountain Goat, which really suits it. I didn't even know what a Cerro was, but apparently it is a goat of the mountainous variety. And that kind of suits the bike very well because it's very light and agile. And they make good power, and you can kind of scramble up mountainsides in them.
You can, and it's perfect for fire trails here in shale and kind of scree hillsides and dirt everywhere.
Can I ask what year it is?
2004.
Yeah, it's still got the Gen 1 generator in it. I mean, they have improved things by now. I mean, the really bad starting ones were the 90s, but they're all as bad. I mean, they're all just crappy starters.
Well, I can vouch for me having one too. Yes, I think I've of course joke that my bike has a personality and she's a finicky woman. She just wants to live in a warmer climate. She's tired of South Dakota, I think.
Yeah, she's got poor dear. She's got a bit of arthritis. But do try that trick. Crank.
I will.
Button off, and then hit it, and you might find it fires right up for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the helpful info, and I will give you an update.
Cheers, dear.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
Good to chat with you all.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to pop in and say hello.
Oh, I'd love to come over there, and you know, it looks very salubrious accommodations.
Salubrious?
Yeah, salubrious.
I've never heard that word.
Does that mean it's greasy? What does that mean?
No, it means it's comfortable. God almighty.
Oh, I thought that meant something with alcohol. Never mind.
No, but it looks very nice, darling. I should ride out there. How long does the ride take, John?
Well, it depends on how. It'll take 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 3-day ride. You know, I could go out and
days.
visit Mike Beck on the way.
You could.
I could
It's
go
such
out.
a beautiful ride.
Yeah.
Grand Tetons is an amazing. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful stuff between here and there. Come on out anytime. You know you're welcome.
Oh, cheers, dear.
Cool.
I might just decide to live there. You know, I'm going to live here now.
There's a shack out back I keep wanting to fix up. You'd be great there.
And I've got a little bike just for you.
Yeah, a broken one that needs a bit of fettling in the start. Yes, okay then.
Exactly.
Rightio.
All right. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
see you
see you
later.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Michelle.
So that was my surprise Ask Miss Emma.
That was your surprise Ask Miss
Yeah. No, XT225s. It was a clever piece of design, but quite rotten, really.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're great little bikes otherwise. They're a nice bike with a nasty little problem.
Well, I'm glad that you knew because I really worked on that.
I knowed.
I can't figure it out.
I knowed.
I know. Well, Emma, while you were on your trip,
yes,
there was a topic I brought up.
Oh, in
on
Italy
our
land.
show.
Yes.
And you weren't here either, John.
Nope.
Neither of you. All right. So this is something it's been on my radar
chomping at
lately,
the bit.
but it's not something new. I found out. Actually, it goes back a while. Well, we're going to get the history on that. So I brought up the motorcycle only checkpoints that are happening in New York, and I'm seeing more and more people posting videos of these events happening. And I think we've all seen it, but I never really processed it that much. And I started asking around, and we got some friends in the AMA, so I called some friends there and said, "So what's up with these motorcycle only checkpoints? I want to understand how these are happening." So we're bringing on some people to talk about this, and with us, the Director of Government Relations for the AMA. We're going right to the top here in this type of stuff. I got Mike Serra on here. Mike, you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Liza.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. How are you?
Good. We got Bagel and John and Emma here.
Hey, Mike.
And
Hey, Mike.
You're in.
Howdy.
Are you in DC?
Just outside of Maryland.
Yes, getting all that stuff done. So this has been something you guys have been working on this a while, right? Motorcycle only checkpoints.
Yes, quite a while. And the real place they kind of remain is stubbornly in New York City. They are not nearly as common elsewhere, which will, at these days, which I guess we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah. So I've been watching more and more videos about this. Now, here's the answer that I got loosely, and I want to see if you agree with this, that these motorcycle-only checkpoints are unconstitutional, but they are legal.
Well, we certainly think they are unconstitutional, but court cases have found otherwise.
Yeah. In fact, it went up pretty high, I think just below the Supreme Court, right?
Correct.
The New York Appeals Court. Am I getting close?
I have a write-up.
Yeah, I know. I have it around here too.
One of the appeals courts below the Supreme Court. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason that they found it legal is a clause. Now, Mike, do you understand this clause? Can you explain this clause? It seems somewhat vague.
Essentially, you're allowed to do checkpoints for a variety of reasons. And one of the things you are not allowed to do, and it's very explicit, is general crime control. You can't just be stopping everybody in an effort to eliminate crime. But there are some ways you can do them where it's about general public safety. There's a good-natured interest in the government to do this. It's kind of known as the special needs doctrine. Essentially, the same idea where you may have a drunk driving checkpoint. There is motorcyclist fatalities are well represented for our numbers on the road, and so the idea was you're allowed to do these things for the purposes of safety, as long as you follow a few things that they are can be plainly seen. They must be fairly well organized. And they cannot extend the stop any longer than rationally necessary, which is a pretty vague.
That is very vague.
Yeah, everything I'm reading, it is kind of vague.
And it's motorcycles and scooters from what I read also, right?
Absolutely. And that where they originally kind of the idea for them came from is more not necessarily in the city. There's honestly a particular New York State police officer who kind of pioneered the idea, and they were well outside the city. There was a famous one on folks who are on the way up to Americade, where they stopped hundreds of bikers, things like that. And the NYPD has kind of adopted and adapted it to their situation, and they're a lot more likely to be catching scooters, obviously, in the city than you would be in upstate New York.
Right. So, interestingly enough, Mike, this is Miss Emma. I've been subject to a couple of these checkpoints. First, quite recently, in Italy, of all places. And there was... The way it works in Italy, basically, we were riding into a very, very small village in the Dolomites. And there was a couple of police cars who were interested only in motorcycles, and especially in me. And so, of course, I get pulled over. And they're very interested in documents, and they're very interested in checking the bike. What I found out subsequently is these are city cops from Milan, from Turin, who have committed some mistake at work and are sent out into the provinces as punishment. And they say, look, you're going to be doing motorcycle-only checkpoints for the next month until you get your head screwed on right. And it was, truthfully, it was quite frightening. It was quite scary. It was quite arbitrary because, of course, when they're done with you, now they start on the bike. And I was riding a rental bike. So you think, oh, God, I hope this thing is maintained. The time previous to that, it was about, I used to drive large tour buses for a living. And about 25 years ago, on Highway 80 coming into Reno, there was a notorious tour bus only checkpoint And all they were interested in out of all the traffic, out of all the cars, motorcycles, trucks, were just tour buses. And they'd pull you over, check all your documents, including a logbook, because, of course, back then we used to write our own logbooks. And then they would go to town on the bus. And they actually pulled that because Nevada deemed it unconstitutional. And that's what stopped them. So I'm familiar with these single vehicle only checkpoints. My opinion of this that's going on in New York is not only is it illegal and unconstitutional, even though the court says otherwise, it is extremely lazy policing at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you would see in the kind of the outside the city type checkpoints, they are, I guess, if anybody has seen like a DUI checkpoint or something like that, it's, it is a well set up. There's signs. It's easy to see. There's a lot of cops there, and they're processing people. And whereas in the city, they're take on the kind of form of what they call like a step out operation, where it's like you don't know they're there until a cop steps out from behind a parked car when you're waiting at a light and says, "Pull over here." They are not visible. They are out of, in which, as we've learned trying to file some freedom of information requests, is that if you're doing a formal vehicle checkpoint in the city of New York, the NYPD's patrol guide says you cannot do it on a specific type of vehicle. It has to be this, non-arbitrary. You can't just do motorcycles. You can do every third vehicle or something like that, but you can't just do motorcycles. And so when we FOIA'd about the, in New York, it's FOIL with an L. We made requests about it, as have others. They go, well, we don't do motorcycle only checkpoints because look here in our patrol book, it says we can't do that. So they do these step out operations, which don't require paperwork, don't require the same kind of signage and all this other stuff. And it's what you see in the YouTube videos, where it's just folks I guess, depending on the type of road, on an average city block, they do that. And then on cases where it's a limited access road, whether it's a bridge or something like that, they will take 4 lanes down to 1 lane.
Yeah.
And often, especially on a nice hot day, they'll find bikes filter up to the front, which is still illegal in New York, and then punish those folks who filter up to the front. And all the while, you have an audience of thousands of cars looking at the cause of their traffic.
That's
woes.
entrapment. That's entrapment. I see it as.
I got into a pretty heated argument with a former NYPD officer who now runs a training program about that practice. It came around when he was still an officer, but he felt if you don't want to get caught for it, don't do it. Or you're creating a potentially dangerous situation for a motorcycle sitting in traffic, whether it's from the heat or from an inattentive driver behind them. And they're gonna not, a ticket is better than an injury or worse.
So I want to go back to the start, because as I've been researching this, I'm going back to 2007, and the operation, what's it called? 2505? 5060, Operation 5060. So you're familiar with this. So if you guys don't know.
Right, I read it.
Yeah, there was an officer chasing a motorcyclist. He was in a car, and the motorcyclist can go much faster than the car, and the officer ended up crashing and dying. Right? So that kind of kicked off this.
More driving skills required.
What are we going to do about these bikers? We need to. And now you get into, why would that biker run? Right? Maybe he has a suspended license. Maybe it's a stolen bike. Maybe it's a whatever. Right? So now we're just going to set up these nets to catch them. There were other things too that led into this, and we have to recognize too, there are a lot of problems in New York and elsewhere, but in New York with stolen bikes. You get like the 12 o'clock boys on the quads and dirt bikes. You get stunters. You get these electric moped bikes that'll do 65 miles an hour after you hack them, that everyone is using on sidewalks and going wherever. And talk about stolen bikes, huge problem. So many stolen bikes there, right? Unlicensed, unregistered, uninsured, all these things. So we got to recognize that. They do have a big problem. I get it. And I'm not justifying these motorcycle checkpoints, but like I saw a video of a guy on a sport bike. He happened to be blogging. So he had the video going and he stopped at a light And out of nowhere, a cop came from the side and tackled him.
Right, step out.
And pushed him off the bike onto the sidewalk.
Wow.
And slammed the bike down and then ran over and handcuffed him. And the guy is on the ground going, "What did I do? What is this about?" Mike, are you familiar with this video?
I don't know. I've seen that
he's
one.
like,
I've seen many like it.
He's like, "What did I do?" And the cop said, "Well, you have a license plate tucked up underneath, and every bike I've ever seen with that license plate tucked like that has always run on me. So I was just going to get you before you could run."
Jeez.
And he's like, "You didn't even turn on your lights. I would have pulled over." And so on the one hand, you go, well, this person was just body slammed.
That sounds like police brutality to me.
But on the other hand, he says every bike with a license plate tucked underneath, you know.
Would you like to talk?
Not due process.
Well, I know, but I'm saying.
Well, I think it's time to talk about our experience at Laguna Seca not 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because we were on a certain booth with a certain 2 highway patrol officers.
Yeah.
And the one highway patrol officer made that blanket statement that every single bike incident he's ever attended was the biker's fault. Did you forget already?
Oh, yeah. Mike, I was talking to him about headlight modulators and if crash scenes he's been to, how many times if it was, a bike versus car, that the drivers of the car said, "I didn't see them." And I was trying to establish how many times did he think maybe headlight modulators would have made a difference. And his response was, every single accident I've ever been to was the fault of the biker.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
That sounds like a prejudiced view.
Well, maybe that's the point that Emma's trying to make.
There you go.
So let's go back to the other comment you made, though. I mean, from what I'm reading in the articles, a bunch of them are for bad helmets or loud exhaust. I mean, technically, both of those are illegal. So, and so the issue is the random pulling over, but they're getting caught for illegal activities.
So that's the thing. They're pulling them over, and then they're looking for the infraction. Now, Mike, isn't that the standpoint that you can't pull someone over just to find the infraction? You need to know what it is first?
In the case of a, real, to separate from these step out operations versus a real checkpoint, in the data we really have is from the older, quote unquote, real checkpoints that are the, illegal helmets or exhaust and things like that. We actually have some data for that. We don't really have good data for the step outs because of the problems trying to get information out of the NYPD. But yeah, in the safety checkpoints previously, those, they don't necessarily need a reason. You go into them and then you're supposed to be, it is supposed to be for safety. And I would argue like a novelty helmet is a safety concern. A out-of-date registration sticker or exhaust probably is not a safety issue. It's an equipment issue, and they can certainly issue you a ticket for it, but it's not a safety issue, which is the point of the checkpoint to begin with. The step out things in the city, it's like the example you said of the guy getting tackled. It's the NYPD. They don't really necessarily feel they need a reason. They'll find one. And on the exhaust thing, we've heard there's been efforts in the past. A motorcycle that leaves a factory has a stamp somewhere on the exhaust that indicates it was EPA approved.
Yep.
And cops in New York, and again, I think it was a law proposed at one point, kind of before my time at the AMA, if you don't have that stamp, and the cop can't find it on the side of the road, your exhaust is illegal. Well, those stamps are never made for roadside inspections. Sometimes the cop have to crawl on their back underneath the bike on a bigger, like a gold wing or something like that. They have to remove panels. And these are the kind of things that they think are reasonable things to do. And then when you actually take a look at how it applies to actual motorcycles on the road, it doesn't really make sense and it's not appropriate. But those ideas still persist. If I don't see a stamp, your exhaust is illegal.
And my concern a little bit is if you have an organized checkpoint, then that you would think there's at least some research that goes in ahead of time because it's an organized thing. If you're just doing a step out, then the chances are it's just a cop on the beat who's actually performing it. And their knowledge of actually what is legal and not legal may not be entirely accurate. We were talking about an example, and again, this is well documented on YouTube, of a motorcyclist who had a RAM camera mount on his helmet.
He was pulled over on one of these step outs, told to come over, and when he was saying, what's the issue?
What is illegal here?
And they said, you can't have a camera on your helmet. And he said, well, I've looked into this, and if you don't mind, can you please show me the where it says in your book, whatever, that this is illegal? And they said, well, look, you can't have cameras or mohawks or anything because that can come dislodged. Now it's a projectile going down the road and it can hurt somebody. And he's like, I understand, but can you show me where it's written? And one cop is on his tablet trying to look it up, and he can't. Well, he's like, no, but just like you can't have that. And he goes, I understand. Can you show me? And another one says, hold on, we have an app. And he's looking it up. He goes, look, no, you just need to go to the VOJ website or something like that, right? And you'll look it up there. And he's like, you keep telling me that this is illegal, but you can't show me anywhere in writing where it states it.
Yeah. So if you know the citation, issue the citation. If it's speeding, if it's something else, that's what you write on the ticket. And then what are you going to write on the ticket in this case? Then I'm very familiar with that video. I had some conversations with folks in here about that. And where it comes from is a lot of states will take it's a lot like the EPA stamp idea, but for helmets, they take the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard for helmets, which is that number 218, which has a lot of rules for the manufacture of helmets. In order for a helmet to be sold as DOT certified, it can't have things protruding out from it over more than a few millimeters. But that has nothing to do with what the end user does.
Right. And there was another video I was watching where in the background, there are two cops discussing, trying to figure out what they were going to write it up. And they're like, well, maybe we could do it as this, or I don't know, maybe it could be this. They were trying to figure out what to write it up as, like they're not really clear. They're literally looking for things.
So the argument against this is it an unlawful search and seizure? Is it a lack of due process? Is it, what's the argument from the AMA's perspective against it?
We have a board approved position statement, which is kind of our biggest issues against motorcyclist profiling, which is much broader than just motorcycle only checkpoints, but the idea that motorcycles are any more inherently law breaking than any other demographic is nonsense. And anything that treats us that way is incorrect and ideally illegal, and has been made. Motorcycle only checkpoints have been made illegal in several states, not around the country, but as far as where it stands, to us in New York, what this is stop and frisk for motorcyclists. Yeah. The unfortunate reality is that because when you're in a vehicle, you have a lot more pretext for a stop than you do walking down the street, and it's the finding of that court case we were talking about before makes it very difficult to challenge these broadly. And then I think we can look at the last few years and trying to change police behavior in a positive way for the average citizen hasn't been an absolute struggle for everybody for issues much bigger than motorcycling. Sorry, go ahead.
So I was going to say, why does what's happening in New York, why should that concern other riders? Well, let me tell you why. There was a point where some of these officers, these Leos from New York, were going to other states and teaching them how to do these checkpoints. These were spreading into other states because they're like, look, this is working for us. They were printing reports of how their checkpoints, how many seizures and this and that they were getting, how many tickets they were writing. But I do want to say that, as of 2016, Texas, California, Louisiana, Maryland, and 15 other states have banned the MOCs.
That's interesting because California just passed the anti-exhaust law. So it's $1,000 if you get caught with an aftermarket exhaust. So it's interesting to see the juxtaposition there. So.
I know. So, Mike, is this something that the AMA was involved with in helping get these banned?
Yes, and I think one really important detail is that at the origin of these, it really comes down to a way for cops to make use of federal funding.
Right.
There
Yes.
is
a grant
a
money.
federal funding program. I believe it's a Section 405, and under that, it's kind of these road safety priorities. And Section F is motorcyclist safety. And essentially, this was a way to have a bunch of police overtime paid for by the federal government in the form of these checkpoints.
Wow. So
However-
motorcycle safety money is being
Yes.
used to crush people's bikes.
Yes.
Well, then not in New York's case, and that this was
Oh.
for the kind of the older, more official, well organized. Because in that case, you have to document all this stuff in order to basically get paid back for the from the government, from the federal government. That is now illegal. As part of the 2015 FAST Act, that was the I forget the exact acronym. Every highway bill has a different acronym. I just think it was Fixing America's Surface Transportation. That included a ban on federal funding for motorcycle-only checkpoints.
There it is. And that was one of the things I wanted to point out. When you say, what does the AMA do for me? There's a lot of things happening that you may never realize. Right. And one of them was they stopped them from using federal money. So if they're going to do these checkpoints, it's got to come out of their pockets. That federal money should be used for education and other purposes.
Right.
So even though you guys aren't able to completely get MOCs shut down, you're finding other ways to kind of strap them a little bit tighter.
So what I'm hearing is motorcycle checkpoints are illegal. The step outs are vaguely legal. And it is legal if a cop follows you and you have an aftermarket exhaust and he hears a loud exhaust, he can pull you over and check that. At least that's happened to a few friends of mine out here. Is that correct?
Most likely. I think depending on the state, the exhaust thing is a really state and sometimes municipal area ordinance specific thing. And that in particular is something why we always strongly advocate for an objective scientific measure for motorcycle exhaust. Whether it doesn't matter if it's aftermarket or stock, it needs to have some scientific measurable thing. And there is a SAE test for this, both on-road and off-road. I think the on-road one is J2825, is that the specific procedure you can do on the side of a road. So you know if I'm legal in this town, in this state, that all falls under the same standard, I'm legal 10 miles up the next town. Doesn't matter what the cops thinks. In a lot of places, it is very subjective. It is if the motorcycle is louder than stock. Well, how does the cop know that for sure? They can see a different name on the exhaust. Maybe that was a factory aftermarket option that is still maybe has that EPA stamp on it. I bring it up again. I know.
Yeah.
I have a Multistrada 1260 that I put the Termi pipe on, and if you look at it, there's an EPA stamp on it. You would have to crawl underneath it and actually get a view on it because it's blocked by the rear wheel, but it's there. But a cop just sees another name, brand name on a pipe and thinks that's illegal, but there's no objective measure for that. That's why we're really one of our oldest positions from the very beginnings of the AMA about 100 years ago is on excessive motorcycle sound. We all like a good sounding motorcycle, but a motorcycle that is a little too loud creates a lot of these problems for us. And that's right. Go ahead.
Well, in California, you can't even ship an aftermarket exhaust to your house anymore, right?
No, it's for off-road purpose only. That's how it's labeled.
I had a friend
I know
who wanted to put one on, who had to ship the exhaust to Florida to get it shipped here.
I know.
And on it.
So here's the thing too, and I do want to, like Emma said, that this is lazy. Right?
It is.
It's lazy.
It's very lazy
on the
policing.
On the one hand, I do recognize there are a lot of issues, and I want to get Mike's opinion on that. But like Emma, I found out this is not from a video, but this is somebody who says they knew somebody, that there was a case where a 1972 Harley Davidson was impounded because the transmission numbers didn't match the bike numbers.
That's just crazy.
It's absolutely. So what?
Right.
As far as I can tell, and I stress, this is just my opinion, is New York has a problem.
Yes.
And we know about the problem. We know about the 12 o'clock boys. We know about the Asian American gentleman who got beaten up and pulled out of his car.
Yeah.
These
was a lot of one percenters there too.
Right.
Stolen bikes.
And blah, blah, blah. However, so we have public outraged. Mm-hmm. What are you police going to do about this? And so the police are under pressure to do something about it. Mm-hmm. So it's a dog whistle to placate an angry public. Let's pull over all bikers. The public are going to be happy because they think we're doing something. We can put any cop on the beat on these things. Mm-hmm. They don't need to know anything about motorbikes. and where the public can see that we're doing something. It's just,
you hit the nail on the head.
it's absolutely lazy and arbitrary policing of the worst kind. And the reason I brought up my experience in Italy, the Italian police are punished. That's their punishment, is doing these checkpoints. You have really got to mess up in your hometown, big time, to be put on a motorcycle-only checkpoint. It's an absolute dog whistle for an angry public.
So here's a question for you, Mike. Like in the case where a Harley Davidson was supposedly impounded because it didn't have matching numbers. So my question is, was that police officer trained in identifying all vehicles and numbers? Just like the same question is, are they trained to identify a non-DOT helmet? Mm-hmm. Like how much training are they get? And where I'm going with this, Mike, I don't know if you're familiar, but years ago, it might have been about 20 years ago, there was a biker here in town who he didn't want to wear a helmet after they passed the helmet law, right? Mm-hmm. But you're required to wear a helmet. So he just wore the cheapest, flimsiest, littlest bucket he could find. And he was getting tickets. So what he did was he took a bunch of helmets, some DOT approved, some not, took all the stickers off the ones that were. He walked into the CHP, laid them all out on the counter and said, please show me which ones are DOT approved. Because if all you're doing is looking at a sticker, right? And then he took it to court and he won based upon that. And I remember when I moved here, I used to see a guy riding around without a helmet because he won this exemption and nobody wanted to mess with him because they're not trained. Have you heard about that?
I've heard, maybe not this exact story, but a version of that where essentially, same thing. He had gotten pulled over so many times for this that in whatever ruling the judge finally came out and said, like, this only applies to this person.
Yeah, basically.
And I think it's true in California, and I believe it's true in New York as well, and a handful of other states. A lot of states, when they first passed a helmet law or reinstated it, they in somewhere in that legislative language, they say the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, or maybe in California's case, CHP, will publish a list of acceptable helmets. And to our knowledge, none have ever done that because whether it's liability or whatever, you'll never be able to keep that list entirely accurate. And if somebody gets hurt because while they were wearing a helmet on their list, God knows. But as far as your question, as far as training, I can't speak to it specifically, but in my interactions, unless you're talking to a motor officer who spends most of their day patrolling on a motorcycle, who comes to the job with a lot of motorcycle specific knowledge, they're going to have some cursory training at best. I've seen some of the stuff, documents, I had one pulled up here a while ago about for the step out stuff in New York. And it really was just, hey, if this exhaust has a sticker on it that says Yoshimura or Two Brothers, or something like that, like it's very basic stuff that is a few sentences long. I think for helmets, there is a bit more there potentially. You can, thickness of the padding, things like that, the sticker, a lot of places it's, if you don't have the sticker, even if it is DOT approved, that in and of itself is a violation.
And I want to say, I'm not saying that, I'm not arguing against wearing helmets or wearing DOT helmets, but this is what you guys do. This is about the law and protecting motorcyclists about unfair, the legal issues. I mean, this is what you do, right? So let's talk a second, though, about the problems that they are having in New York. I mean, what is a better solution? If Emma says this is lazy, it's unconstitutional, they shouldn't do it, what should they do? What could they do?
Well, they've done some things, and I'm sorry, Jesse from the New York Motorcycle and Scooter Task Force couldn't join us for this because he could speak to this really well, and I really want to give a lot of praise to that group and all the work they've done on this.
Say it again, because this is where I get a lot of my information too.
the New York Motorcycle and Scooter Task Force.
Yes.
They're an excellent group, and I often tell them, having worked with them for several years now, if they were in a different state, they could get anything they want done, but they happen to be up against one of the biggest and toughest bureaucracies in the country. Everything that is New York City. There have been some good things, not necessarily out of NYPD, but the New York City DOT, the Department of Transportation, has actually, there's kind of I don't know how formal it is, but it's essentially a motorcyclist advisory committee of a group of a lot of folks from the Motorcycle and Scooter Task Force meet with DOT officials about what they can do to improve motorcyclist safety. Some of these things are I think they're really important, but not necessarily on the scale of solving the profiling and checkpoint problem. But it's simple things as that last parking spot before you get to a four-way intersection, make that motorcycle-only parking, or a bicycle rack, essentially. But for us, we want motorcycle parking. That makes that intersection more visible, which makes it so that car pulling through that intersection doesn't miss a pedestrian, a bicyclist, or a motorcyclist. They're better able to see them. So that's a relatively small example. And I think in the case of New York, and it's true here, I'm here in DC, and home of 12 O'Clock Boys in Baltimore, that's not very far away from me either. Finding a solution to folks riding, dirt bikes and ATVs on the street. I don't know where every city across the country, what's more prevalent, whether it's a bunch of guys on sport bikes or honestly, dirt bikes and ATVs are probably going to be cheaper and easier to get and ride around on. I see more dirt bikes and ATVs. How do you solve that? And then in Baltimore, there's a really good program called B360. That's more aimed at youth. It's taking these kids on little dirt bikes, getting them off city streets, and they have a riding area at the B&O Railroad Museum. Actually, basically gave them a parking lot, and they get STEM education. They learn engineering. They learn how to work on bikes, and they while doing something they love, riding motorcycles, but not on city streets. And that's the challenge. And
you know what? For those of us old enough, we'll remember decades ago when those scofflaw BMXers and skateboarders. That's true. That they were writing tickets for, until they finally realized that they could give them a place to go, and that they could. Then what happens from that? Once they gave them a place to go, the X Games. That's what happened.
That's right.
They were able to get creative. Hey. Guess what?
What?
Guess who's joined us now?
Santa Claus. Santa Claus?
Jesse. Hey, we've been playing catch up with you. Hey, Jesse, how you doing?
So sorry I'm late.
It's
I got
okay. Glad you're here.
Sidetracked with some family stuff.
Glad you're here at all. Hey, I'm Liza. You got Stumpy John, Miss Emma, Bagel, and Mike from the AMA. And we're
singing your praises, Jesse, and you and the task force's work.
We've just been talking about this whole issue. I mean, we've been talking about everything, but you're fighting this from the inside. So you're the founder of the task force. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you came to do that and why?
Sure. And just to clarify, I'm one of the co-founders.
Okay.
A number of us all at once around the same time in beginning of 2009 realized that we all had a common interest. One of the first issues that really kind of joined us together was the loss of the last motorcycle-only parking area in New York City, which was by the South Street Seaport. And, we had just become aware that this parking was going away. And none of us were really politically activated. We weren't involved in any kind of lobbying or anything like that. And we all realized we had common cause. This was a diverse group of maybe originally a half a dozen different riders, all of whom were passionate about motorcycling and used motorcycles to get to and from work. And I was a fairly new rider at the time, and so I was super enthusiastic about it. And we all kind of came together under this one issue, and then it kind of went from there.
I didn't even realize parking spots were a problem. I was at the San Jose airport today, and I noticed in the economy parking lot they had a bunch of motorcycle parking spaces. I mean, that's something we take for granted.
You're living in motorcycle nirvana there.
Yeah, I know. We take for granted. So you're saying that there's a lot of things happening there.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go.
No, this is a huge thing you're dealing with that I'm just tapping into and really trying to understand.
Well, the thing I realized, and this was a realization that happened a few years later, is that I realized that none of us were engaged in the policy or political discussion in when that happened in 2009 when we started. That we just weren't aware of it. And in the following years, I got very involved in a lot of that stuff, as a lot of the members did. And that included me going to so many, New York City, we have community boards, which represent neighborhoods. They're advisory only to the city of New York, but they're basically where, for the most part, citizenry meets policymaking. They cover all range of issues, from everything from zoning to, in our situation, transportation and traffic. And I ended up going to so many of these community board committee meetings to lobby in favor of motorcycle parking. We had a whole program that we went through where we scouted out areas and did surveys and got the board on board. I went to so many of them that eventually I was asked by one of the community boards in New York City, in Manhattan's West Village, if I would actually join their traffic and transportation committee. And I did that for about 5 years. But the only point in me saying that is that it wasn't until I had that experience that I realized that if in 2009 and before any of us as riders were involved in the process, we never would have lost that parking.
Yeah.
I've been into so many of these community meetings, and I realize that all it takes is a very small number of people who care about an issue to come in and say, hey, wait a minute, I use that thing.
Right.
So, let me ask real quick. I just want to establish, because bikers in New York, and where in New York are you?
I live in Queens, and I worked in Manhattan for many years up until COVID. Now I'm working in Queens.
So let me ask you, as a New Yorker, I want to establish there are some things I assume that every New York biker has dealt with. So first of all, have you been pulled over at a motorcycle only checkpoint?
I have actually, relatively recently, but that's a whole other story. Yes.
Have you ever had your bike knocked over while parked on the street?
Oh, so many times.
Yeah. Okay. Check that. And have you ever had a bike stolen?
I had 2 motorcycles stolen in 2017.
Okay. Check. This is what motorcyclists in New York have to deal with. These are all common things that we don't.
San Francisco
have to
has
face.
a problem too, though.
Yeah, but it's really bad there. So just being a motorcyclist is hard to begin with. Did I leave any out? Are there any other rites of passage to be a biker in New York?
Taking your plate off when you park?
I definitely do not recommend that. That's some very interesting things that can happen to your motorcycle as a result. Sometimes instead of getting towed by the NYPD, you get towed by the sanitation department, and they're not nearly so nice. It's abandoned vehicles. I would say one thing, which is not really policy in New York City, but since you're in San Jose and I know that area moderately well, that you also have to appreciate the fact that it takes about an hour to get anywhere that's really good riding.
Oh yeah, that's not a problem here.
No.
It's about,
it's there 5 minutes away.
And in ally to all of these problems you have, I mean, the climate's not the best in New York either, is it? I mean, it's hotter than Hades in the summer and very humid and rather cold in the winter. We tend to get quite acclimatized here in California to our lovely climate.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things that kind of joined this initial group at the task force together was the fact that we all commuted all year round.
Right.
Oof.
And, so you're pretty hardcore guys.
Hardcore. Yeah.
You know what the thing is? It's really funny. My wife just started riding a bicycle to her job in Manhattan, and that's about 10 miles each way. And the process she's going through on a bicycle, she's going through all the same emotional states that I went through about like riding on a motorcycle. And that includes like getting angry at car drivers for all the like real just anonymous anger they exhibit. And there is a lot. And I guess to me, I would put that up as another New York City hazard. I mean, it's not unique to New York, but it's bad.
I didn't have a game prepared for this episode, but I think I just came up with that.
Right.
With one. You guys, now what we know about Jesse being a year-round hardcore biker in New York, how about we each take a turn guessing what bike he rides?
All right.
Ooh, this could be good. I'm going to go first.
I think your first guess will be wrong, but go on.
Okay, I'm going to go first because I'm getting a vibe. Don't yell at me, John, because I'm going to say Triumph Tiger.
Wow, that's a really great guess, but only because I had one.
Okay.
But that was a few years ago.
All right.
I love that bike.
All right. Emma, you want to take a guess?
Funnily enough, I was going to say Triumph Tiger.
Ooh.
You look,
I know.
you definitely look like an adventure bike guy.
I am definitely of that tribe.
Okay.
So let's try
I got it. I know.
Tenere 700.
You'll get it.
Tenere 700.
I didn't think you were going to go that. I'm a person who never seemed to realize that I should buy a vehicle from a company that actually the bike will just run forever.
Okay. I know what you like.
No. I know. I go next.
Okay.
I know next.
Okay.
I'm getting a certain smell.
Oh.
I'm getting a whiff of Ducati Multistrada.
Oh, that was a guess I had too.
Wow. That is a good guess. I hear you there. But still, that's way too civilized.
That gave us a clue.
Hold on. Bagel and then Mike. Bagel, what's your guess?
I'm going to guess KLR.
What? No. That
No.
goes against everything all the clues he just
close.
gave.
So close and yet
close.
so far away.
Mike, do you know what he rides?
I've seen posts of it, so I would be
So
cheating
you
if
He
I
got to
can't
guessed.
guess.
recuse himself.
I know what
Okay.
you wrote at one point.
Unreasonable.
Try Moto Guzzi. Try Moto Guzzi. Something. He looks like
I'm
he
not that
should.
exotic. Okay.
No.
I'm also. You should probably know I'm also about 6'11". So.
Oh,
so you
can
are a
eliminate
giant.
whole class
Oh,
of bikes that I
okay.
don't fit
Wow.
into.
I got it.
Okay.
Africa Twin.
No, that's a Honda.
No,
Runs
he-
forever.
Wow.
right, you-
I think you're actually. Shall I just say?
Yeah, you have to put us out of our misery, Jesse.
At the moment, KTM.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
You should have known that.
So KTM, wait. 890 Adventure?
No, he's bigger than that.
Do you want me to tell you?
So
Yeah.
that's what-
1190.
I sort of want to give you the opportunity to guess, but I also don't, want you to torture yourselves
well,
like that.
I will say, 1290 sounds like, big guy, big bike, but boy,
I'm
that's
also
a
a race
lot
fan.
of bike for
So-
there.
Oh,
so,
he's a race fan.
So
Wait, wait.
I'm going to go back to
Oh.
I have a 690 Enduro
No.
that would be great there.
Think of it something that's unreasonable
Super
for
Duke.
commuting to work.
Super
You have,
Duke.
they have the Super Duke.
There it is.
You have the
Oh,
Super
my.
Duke.
I'm the winner. I am the wiener.
The wiener
I-
chickadina.
And
A
so,
completely unreasonable vehicle.
and Jesse, just so you know, I have a 990 and a 690, so I should have.
But I mean,
Excellent.
before we go any further, I want to say to both Jesse and Mike, thank you so much for fighting this fight.
Yes,
It's
yes,
something
yes.
that
Yeah,
need,
100%.
and just in case that doesn't come up later, because I know we're not done with this, but God Almighty, we need people like you.
Well, yeah, and Jesse, I explained why it's important to everybody because what's happening in New York, they've tried to spread it to other states. So it's important. You're fighting at the front for us. So I want to ask both of you, what are you working on now? What's next? Like, what's the next
Well,
target? Is there another court? Do you take it to the Supreme Court?
well, hang on.
What can you
Before we
do?
go any further, Mike made a statement right at the beginning, and you implied that it's kind of going away in other states, and New York's the holdout
Mm-hmm.
right now. Did I read that wrong, or is that basically what's happening?
The rapid expansion we saw of motorcycle-only checkpoints in response to what was pioneered in the state of New York, not necessarily the city, by Halverson was the officer. That making use of the motorcycle safety funds from NHTSA, the Section 402F funds, that is largely disappeared because we have successfully made it illegal to use those funds to do that. There are other things that happen. I know. It's been a few years since I read about it, but one of my colleagues used to live up until about a month or two ago, lived in outside Placerville, California.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally there are not necessarily a checkpoint, but there'll be, what do they call them? High visibility enforcements, HIVE. And that's true for motorcycling. It's true for drunk driving, texting and driving.
Right.
And so they may take on the appearance of a checkpoint, but they aren't necessarily. The other thing with those is they let you know ahead of time. So if you follow your local police department, something like that, I think one of the requirements, I believe, is that they have to let people know about this ahead of time. So we'll occasionally get people letting us know about those. And, it's when you notice that this part of the road, and I'm, again, it's been years, so I'm struggling to remember the specific details. This specific intersection or this pull-off area, there'll be some enforcement activity going on. and whether it's, we're looking for people texting and driving, drunk driving and all that, or we're looking for illegal exhaust, whether it's car or motorcycle. As much as we are paint-tarred with that, we are not the only ones. And you happen to drive past there after, having a few beers at the bar or on your bike that's got the loudest pipes you happen to own. That's not being pre-warned is not
right.
Doesn't absolve the law enforcement of not doing their job, but they're giving you as much a heads up as you're ever going to get.
It strikes me it seems to be a little more organized. Can I ask, is Halverson still involved in MSF, or has he largely gone by the wayside now?
I don't know for sure. I've seen, it's been a few years, but I've seen he's written columns for, I believe, this Motorcycle Consumer News, which I think just before the pandemic was yet another motorcycle magazine.
The phrase that I read actually in the article that I think, did it Jesse or Mike provide us the article? But nevertheless, the fox guarding the hen house really, I think, summed up that little relationship with MSF and Halverson.
It was Jesse's webpage.
Yeah. It's troubling, but so the same question to you, Mike, to you, Jesse. I mean, what's happening in the future? Do you see any movement here, or are we stuck with this?
Well, right now I'll tell you where my head's at, because for the last three and a half years or so, I have been included in a small group of people who are leaders of motorcycle organizations in the New York City area as part of the New York City Department of Transportation under their Vision Zero plan. Mm-hmm. And what happened was they have this once-a-month meeting, this thing they call the Motorcycle Advocacy Council, or Motorcycle Advisory Council. And the purpose originally was to deal with the fact that motorcycle fatalities for the last decade have remained the same, where the fatalities and serious injuries of all other road users have dropped by about 40%. And so they decided after all this time, they might just include talking to some motorcyclists. And, I'm unfortunately plagued with optimism. So I think that I was thinking, well, finally, after all these years, someone at New York City is going to listen to me. And I still don't want to be negative, because I don't think being pessimistic or negative encourages anyone. And I think there's a lot that can be done. But I've been very frustrated in the last year in particular, because there is an animosity that is in the bones of New York City, it seems, against motorcycles. And New York City is just layers upon layers of fiefdoms. And the police department, quite honestly, is a massive political force. The power of the NYPD politically rivals that of the mayor's office. They famously don't have to, they often don't listen to the mayor. But it doesn't help that all parties really never want to look at motorcycles in any way other than the way they look at them. And I'll give you an example. New York City right now, and this may come to you someday very soon, you may have heard about the congestion pricing law that's being tossed around in New York City.
Yeah,
and
explain this for us. I haven't fully gotten this.
Wow. So I'm going to put all the cynical statements out of my head and try to give you a straightforward answer. For many, many years, going all the way back to Bloomberg, there was this idea that they would increase the tolls for people entering what they call the commercial business district in New York City, which means Manhattan south of 60th Street. And also they wanted to apply tolls to some of the bridges across the East River, most of which don't have any tolls at all. And there's a lot of negative outcomes as a result of that. And that's a real problem. And they say the reason is to reduce traffic congestion.
And so this is all traffic, not just motorcycles.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's basically your standard free market philosophy that if we raise the price, people will use it less. And, I think it's kind of BS, but, it is, certainly very popular. And as we go down the path of that thing becoming closer and closer to becoming the law, this is now maybe 4 years ago, it turns out that the entire rational reason for why they did this thing is based on this really poorly put together program done by a fellow who is a former executive at a bicycle advocacy group and he's called himself an economist. I suppose he is an economist. But he made this very complicated formula in Excel spreadsheet, which tried to put into it that if you raise the tolls by such and such, you'll reduce traffic by this much. Mm-hmm. And his software was available to download. And my day job is developing software. So I was like, of course I'm going to look at this thing. And very quickly, I realized that motorcycles were not in his model at all.
Oh,
like he just forgot to model motorcycles. And because what he wrote was really bad software, when I brought that to his attention, his first reaction was, well, you guys are really just a very, very small part of the formula, so it doesn't matter. I'm like, okay, that doesn't matter. And then he fell back to the real answer, which is my software is so buggy that I can't actually make any change without breaking the whole thing. Oh, man. And that is the core philosophy that has led to what was Plan NYC and now the congestion pricing program. Now, in the intervening years, what's happened is that this thing that used to be started to alleviate congestion, that was the purpose, mutated into something used to fund mass transit. And without getting too much into the weeds, the MTA, which runs the subways and buses in New York City, of course, like all municipal agencies, doesn't have enough money to do its job, but they also are pretty notorious for wasting money. And there have been, over the decades, many, many, many different fees that were levied to fund them. And every single time they waste the money, they either just, it gets siphoned off to a non-MTA project, or like Cuomo built this massive, beautiful train station in a part of Manhattan that no one ever goes. It's gorgeous and it's very clean since it's never used. So the whole this whole congestion pricing program is now used to say, well, if you give us money today, we will, gladly pay you back on Tuesday, as they have many, many times before. And in all this, motorcycles have been forgotten. And they point to similar programs they like to point to the ones in Stockholm and London and other places. Every single one of those cities has a full-on 100% exemption for motorcycles. Mm-hmm. And New York City doesn't. In fact, their current plan is to charge...
Because, motorcycles aren't creating the congestion.
Right.
In fact, they could be alleviating the congestion.
Right, exactly.
And there's lots of studies. That show that. Yeah. And by charging motorcycles the same as cars, you're not just not encouraging motorcycles, you're actively discouraging. Oh. And the tolls we're talking about are going to be a minimum $23 a day.
I'm looking at, they're saying $23 a day during rush hour, $17 for off rush hour.
That's literally highway robbery.
And that would be charged on your Easy Pass. $23 to go through the toll. I've encountered this before. I've always thought it's unfair. I've been through, I think even like Zion, it's by the axle,
right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, so wait, my motorcycle and that school bus are paying the same?
Right. Or some big motorhome.
Really? So I get you there. But now, since they're calling it congestion pricing, that's a real slap.
But I can see why you're pessimistic, but I'm going to offer...
Oh, I haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. But
no. Do you want to go into that? Because you've got a platform for it right now.
Right. The thing is that it is so hard to get the city of New York to do anything because of this built-in hostility. I was trying to get crash data on motorcycle crashes. And this DOT group that I'm a part of, which includes the NYPD, I said, can I get some of that crash data that is part of your special investigation squad? And they said, oh, you have to file a Freedom of Information request. I'm like, oh, well, that seems really kind of excessive, but okay, fine. I've done them before. I'll do it again. I file it, and then they still don't give me the data. And it's been 2 years since I requested it. And this is so that I can do a qualitative study on accident causality. I'm trying to, for instance, get New York City to consider the fact of lane splitting, which I think there's some pretty solid data.
Yeah, we would agree.
In addition to...
Yeah.
Greatest thing about living here.
We've been trying to do that here in Oregon, and it's...
If only we knew someone at the AMA to help you with that.
Right.
I've been trying to persuade them to look at it as a possibility. I presented it to anyone who will listen in city government. And what I finally get back is that they just don't want to the point of just striking from agendas. They're not interested in
Wait,
any way.
I'm sorry, is this run by toddlers?
It's run by people who are very much interested in maintaining their political power.
Right.
There it is.
Well, that right there's the problem, because we are the people saying, "Hey, we want to." You are the representatives who are supposed to do what the people want.
But
Yeah.
nevertheless, Jesse, I'm going to sound a voice of optimism to you. Please continue to do what you're doing. Please
Yes,
continue
right.
to be your eloquent self. You too, Mike, because it has been proven, not just in motorcycling, but in women's issues, in LGBT issues, in any, for want of a better term, marginalized or minority group.
Black Lives Matter.
If you have a representative at the table, time and time again, it works. It may seem like an uphill struggle, but continue to make your voice heard, continue to say what you say, and continue to put a face to New York motorcyclists.
And just one thing I'll just say to amplify what you just said, but I absolutely agree, is that one of my realizations in this last year, and this is going to sound really obvious, is that I realized that I can't get people I'm talking to in government to listen to me. And then I realized, oh, what they're telling me is I need to have a whole bunch of riders in New York City speak very loudly.
There you go.
That is the only way this is going to happen. And I understand it's really hard to get people energized in no matter what the situation is. And, motorcyclists, I think by nature are people who don't, I think a lot of them are, they don't want to do, things that seem almost civic. I'm not saying they're antisocial. I'm just saying that they just don't, it's hard, but, I honestly believe that just a small number of people who really get involved and show up to these meetings and are willing to call people and show up at their elected rep's office, that is what's required.
Well,
to just get a bunch of people to show up to these things.
I've said this before many times. I haven't said it for a while, so it's as good a time as any. We are not a political podcast. I will never, and I will make absolutely sure that nobody on this podcast ever tells you who to vote for, because that's not our job. However, if you are listening to our podcast in America, join the AMA.
Absolutely.
Join the AMA, because that is your political clout. And the AMA are fighting battles right now. The Mikes of this world and the Jesses of this world are fighting battles that we may not know anything about. We had we had knowledge of the New York checkpoints, largely through what we see on video. But a lot of people are listening to this right now, like, what the hell are the New York checkpoints? So they need to know. They need to know what's going out there. Because guess what? It's coming to a city near you sometime soon. We're a very, very easy group to target. Mm-hmm. And we need these voices. We need the voices like Mike's. We need the voices like Jesse's. We need our voices. Join the AMA. Be aware. Be aware of what's happening in your town. And if something's going the way you don't like it, make some noise about it.
Well, and I also appreciate that
be a voice at the table.
I appreciate that you include the scooters in the task force, because those are some mean sons of bitches. We
you
want them on
shouldn't.
our
They're
side.
just lunatics.
Don't piss them off.
Lunatics. Every single one of
I
them.
will tell you.
I will tell you my completely not secret.
Ooh, yeah.
Is that, and this has been an idea, and this is why scooters are in the task force group. My secret plan is that motorcyclists, I'm going to focus on New York City just because this is where I live and this is what I know. We have to reach a critical mass.
Yeah.
And we have to have enough riders that everybody knows somebody who rides. And it makes a huge difference because then it becomes normalized. It's not this weird, freaky thing. And yeah, it loses something by not being, counter social. But you know what? If you go to like Paris or London and you see everybody's mom, on a motorcycle or a scooter, and they're parked everywhere, and it's so normal that, you can't just other motorcyclists. Right. It's a little harder to do that. And one of the really, and I don't want to end on a bad note, but one of the frustrating setbacks I've had in the last year has been New York City has a completely inscrutable policy with regards to what they call e-bicycles. And an e-bicycle, to my way of thinking, is what they used to call a moped. And a moped used to be a Class C motorcycle. And if you keep in mind that my goal is to mint a lot more motorcycle riders, then I was thinking, well, this is good. They've already accepted the fact that a powered two-wheel vehicle makes a hell of a lot of sense in an urban environment. Now all we have to do is make these all motorcycles, and then the city can't ignore us. Instead, what they did was they carved out a special law to separate these new types of riders from motorcyclists. That was frustrating. But for the first time ever, in my experience and the experience of every single motorcyclist who's been riding for a while in New York City, I have actually seen for the first time unhelmeted motorcycle riders on the roads, full-on motorcycle riders. And to me, it's because this policy has caused modeling of some pretty terrible behavior. Right. And so now it's leaking back to motorcycles and making us less safe. So,
Well, keep on fighting.
Sooner or later they're going to have to. Yeah.
Keep on fighting the fight. And I just want to be absolutely clear, so that we're all clear. Legislating against motorcycles isn't a Republican thing. It isn't a Democrat thing. It's completely across the board. It's not one side or the other. Each side is as guilty as the other. Your city governor or state governor or whoever can be any side of the political spectrum. It doesn't matter. You've just got to be aware of what's going down in your state. And the easiest way to do that, be a part of the AMA.
Yeah. Well, and also go to the website, the New York Motorcycle and Scooter Task Force website. You want to give us the short and abbreviated, actual easier to type in version?
Well, the absolute best place to find us is actually our Facebook group. That's where most of our communications go. The task force is the acronym is NYMSTF. Yep. It stands for the New York Motorcycle and Scooter Task Force. And if you look us up on Facebook, we do a webpage, but it's, Facebook is where all the action's coming, where you'll find riders and advocates in communication talking about what's really going on in New York City.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I got pulled in, because I'm not sure how, but I joined the group, and then I started getting all these things coming through my feed and seeing all these issues. I'm like, holy crap. So, Jesse, we're going to be wrapping up soon. I have one more question for you. When you have been pulled over at these New York checkpoints, do you do everything they ask while muttering pig, pig, pig? Or do you just blow it on your Super Duke?
Liza!
Try and catch me, coppas!
There are many answers I can give to that question.
Don't incriminate yourself, please, Jesse.
On advice of counsel, I would like to say, no, I'm very polite, and I think no bad thoughts at all.
Yeah, it never goes well when you're rude to an officer, no matter what it is.
True.
And Mike, thank you so much for being part of what you do as well. It's so important. It's vitally important. I've always felt that as we kind of navigate our way through the 21st century, our existence is far more fragile than people realize. And all it will take is a very ambitious young politician who wants to make a name for his or herself without a huge working knowledge of motorcycles or motorcyclists, and our whole lifestyle could change at the stroke of a pen. And it's only really people like you, Mike, and you, Jesse, that are really pushing back against that. So thank you. Really, thank you. It's very, very sincere.
Yeah. And normally I let the guests go before we start reading our listener emails, but I want to keep you two on for this one. if you don't
Oh,
mind.
blimey.
Yeah.
We're breaking with precedent.
Yeah. Well, no, you'll see why.
I want to really thank you guys and thank Jesse, because I'm in the very privileged position that only maybe a dozen people in the country I get paid to do this.
Yeah.
So, as I really appreciate the gratitude, but this is my job, and I would not be able to do this without folks like you, without folks like Jesse,
and that's it. Our AMA dues are paying your paycheck for good reason, though. You know, and to me, that's great value. So, no, it's all good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this one is from Brian with a Y.
Hello, Brian with a Y.
He says, "Hey, you misfits."
Is that right, Ryan?
I said, "I was newly turned on your podcast only 2 months ago, and I haven't missed an episode since.
Oh, blimey.
I've been enjoying it thoroughly. And I know you're throwing out feelers for another Misfits tour of Italy in 2023. I'm interested."
Oh.
Yeah, we got many people should. Lastly, adding on to the New York motorcycle checkpoints topic. Haven't experienced it yet. I am so very torn on the topic. MOCs, although highly inconvenient and discriminatory, at the end of the day, being I have all my papers in order, will result in nothing else but a delay. Living in New York City, not a day goes by that I don't see illegal street bikes, electric or gas-powered, with riders driving extremely recklessly, often to the detriment of others. New York City being an extremely populated city, pedestrians being hit by these bikes is a common occurrence. I have personally seen many near misses with children by the school near me. Even with legal street bikes, there are many inexperienced riders who forego proper training and purchase and ride motorcycles with nothing more than a permit, as apparently you can register a motorcycle in New York with only a motorcycle driver's permit. Well, same here. As a safety-conscious and avid motorcycle rider, I hate to see the community being singled out by a relatively small group, and I'm not sure that this is the answer. On the other hand, I guess at which point do we place safety above some inconveniences? Just wanted to share a different perspective. Thanks for the conversations that you guys are having on it. So, I mean, that's the thing I keep saying, and I'll be honest, I'm split too. There are, our rights as bikers being this big net being cast, but then you guys have a whole lot of mess of problems with bikers there too. I don't know the solution.
Well, I'll tell you that you can probably guess what I'm going to say. I agree with almost everything Brian wrote, except one thing I want to bring attention to, which is the notion that just because you have all your paperwork in order, that they're just going to wave you on by.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Even if you wanted to just ignore the inconvenience and the fact that the police in New York City have often created a traffic jam.
Yeah.
At which, when you're a car driver, you have no idea what's going on. When you get to the front of you, you see a bunch of motorcyclists, so you automatically assume that a fucking biker screwed us. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can say that.
It's okay.
They're causing this problem. So if you want to set all that aside, the fact is that these police officers have been told to go out there and give out tickets to motorcyclists. Yeah. And they will give you a ticket. And in New York City, we do not, when it comes to moving violations, we have something called the Traffic Violations Bureau. It's not an actual court. There's no discovery. There's no ability to have, very limited appeal ability. The person who presides is an administrative law justice who likes to be called judge, but in fact is not a judge, doesn't even have to be a lawyer. And you have to prove your innocence, which is almost impossible.
Right.
And that's just a statistical reality. And you will get a ticket because they will give you a ticket and not just because you're mean to them. They will give you a ticket because that's what they're there for. And honestly, if they don't give out tickets, then someone like me might go, "Oh, you pulled over 500 riders and you gave out 3 tickets."
Yeah.
Which means you inconvenienced 497 of them. No, they know that, and they're going to give out tickets to everyone.
And here's how wide this net they're casting is. I saw a video in Times Square pulling over rental scooter after rental scooter.
You're kidding me.
No,
Wow.
They're all the same name brand on the side. Rental scooters. Yeah.
And can I just also say that NYPD has a long history of just giving out tickets because they are expected to give out tickets. It doesn't matter whether it sticks or not. That's what they do. And another thing I want to mention too is that policies like this only incentivize people to ride illegally, because what's the incentive to have all your paper in order if you're still going to get stopped, you're still going to get pulled over, you're still going to get harassed, you might even get your bike seized because you had to replace your transmission that went out on it 6 months ago and you hadn't had a chance to get to the DMV to change the paperwork yet. That is absolute BS, and that is exactly what New York is doing. And I can't thank you guys enough for fighting this. This is absolutely wrong, and you guys are heroes for doing what you do.
See, don't mess with the scooterist.
Don't mess with Bagel, man.
Don't mess with the scooterist. I told you.
You got it.
No, Bagel's
He's right, though.
Bagel's not a hardcore scooterist anymore. He just bought a motorcycle.
We wrote a cover story about a lot of these different issues back in 2018. I went back and looked it up, and I remember Brad Burson, who's one of the other co-founders of the task force, there was a few of his stories of things he had been stopped and ticketed for. And something I've heard frequently is many states have a requirement that whether you have a helmet or not, to have eye protection of some kind. And I've heard a lot of stories, and I've written an extremely angry letter to the NYPD commissioner that I'm sure was thrown in the trash, that cops have ticketed people for opening their visors at a stoplight because then they don't have eye protection.
Jeez.
But they would also like to see when they pull away and not have it fog up. Doesn't matter. Brad also said he had been cited for a license plate lamp that was pointed up at the plate rather than down, despite the fact that that's how it came from the factory.
They're just looking for stuff.
Yeah.
So there it is. This is why, I want to, as I said, thank both of you for coming on and sharing. You guys are fighting at the forefront. And Jesse, even though you may feel like it's just New York, I know you're fighting for all of us. And because of the things you guys have been fighting for, New York or California is one of the states that's already banned MOCs. So hopefully more will follow. Is there any way people can support you other than joining the AMA?
And give us the websites again. Yeah,
and go on your Facebook page.
Well, I mean, in terms of support, the main thing is to get engaged. I think that more important, than money, because we're an all-volunteer organization, and we all have day jobs, and it's very hard. The way it works is each of us have our own, things that we are very passionate about, and then we help each other support these issues. Then we bring as many people, but just being ready to get involved and to think about what you're doing in terms of, unfortunately, motorcycles are rare enough that each one of us is a bit of an ambassador, and how we behave on the road sends a message. When I was on the community board, every single meeting would put my helmet down on the table, if for no other reason than to communicate, here's a motorcyclist who's in your community, who's talking about your issues, most of which are not motorcycle related. And just to represent the fact that, I'm a rider and we exist, we're regular, we're not just, parts of gangs or something. So everyone just needs to know how to show up and think about advocating all the time.
And something I'd like to say, which I know you'll both agree with, motorcyclists, we tend to be quite a reactionary bunch, just everything's great. It's been great for the last 20 years. It's going to be great for the next 20. It's not so. Stroke of a pen, your life can change. And we need to be diligent about that. We need to understand just because, things have been going a certain way for us for 20 years, they can change. They can change for the worse, but they can change for the better as well. And I think it's an example of what you two are doing that are going to change things for the better. So thanks again.
Yeah, and I got one more thanks.
Right.
Thanks, Mike, for introducing me to Jesse. Jesse, I'm so glad I got to meet you.
That's called networking.
I'm so sorry I'm late.
You made it in time. It worked out.
I'll be early next time.
Because I am following this, I may even contact you again to talk about other stuff.
I'd love to. Can we have you back on the show again? Both of you.
I love talking about all motorcycle things. It's so much fun.
Mike?
Absolutely.
We can talk about all the mechanical problems on my KTM and, talk through them too.
Well, you could ask
I'll
Miss
show you
Emma.
the mess in my garage.
Yes, your KTM has fueling problems because all KTMs have fueling problems. Tra-la-la! How about that?
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for
Absolutely.
joining us.
Thank you very much for bringing
Ciao.
attention to this.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. All
Thank
right.
you, guys.
See you guys.
Take care. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Dude, take care.
All right. So we got a couple more emails to go. Let's start with Bagel. Bagel, do you have yours ready?
The bagel.
I do.
The watered down scooterist who now owns a motorbike.
I love it when he gets mad.
Oh, I do. He
yeah,
gets
he gets-
very angry and he turns the same color as his beard. Did you notice that? He got bright red and steam and shit came out of his ears.
I do want to say, Bagel, thank you for that reaction. And
Yeah, that
that's
was great.
this is why I
My
wanted
pleasure.
to talk about this, because I've been following this and I've been going, wait, this isn't right. This isn't fair. This is
Yeah.
not constitutional.
Yeah, it's wrong.
I want to talk about this and let people know
Yep.
what's happening. So thank you for having the proper reaction. All right, what you got there, Bagel?
All right. I have an email from Rob Leach.
Hey, Rob.
And Rob writes, hello, Misfits. Just finished your podcast on the Quail Motorcycle Show. Started listening a couple of months ago. Now I'm hooked. Grew up riding dirt bikes and doing enduros in the 70s. Took a break while raising the family and came back to bikes about 10 years ago. I started back in with the KLR, then a V-Strom. Should have stuck with the KLR.
Yes.
And now I'm riding my DR, which is my absolute sweet spot. I ride gravel roads, which are common where I live, and over the past 10 years, I've traveled around Eastern Canada and the U.S., including the BDR from Tennessee north around Lake Superior,
Wow.
trips to Newfoundland and Labrador, and also Quebec. Mainly ride with brother-in-law, and close friends.
Oh.
Love your podcast. You speak to my love of all things motorcycle. Thanks, Rob Leach, Lissoel, Ontario.
Oh, thanks,
P.S.
Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Picked my DR a new project 1965 Honda S90, which is a gorgeous little cub.
Oh, it's fantastic. But do you know the real takeaway from this, Liza?
What's that?
That a DR is a far superior bike
Oh
to
my
a KLR.
Oh, my God.
Well, you knew that.
I thought she wasn't paying
No,
attention.
you knew that. Is
The
this
KLR is the greatest motorcycle ever developed.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Dollar for dollar.
All right. We'll save that
I
for
see
another. Wait,
babbling
wait.
from the sick bed.
We'll save
That's
that.
all that is, just babbling from the sick bed.
I smell a debate club coming. All right.
No,
so,
we've done this before, and I won. Do you remember?
I know. So,
Yes.
John, what you got there?
All right. It's a letter from the KLR Association of America that would just like to thank us for that.
More babbling from John, it's not like you to come into my presence and gibber.
All right. This is from Rick from Florida, sort of.
Hello.
You'll see what
Oh, it's
I mean.
Florida Man. Hello, Rick.
Good morning from the East Coast, all. Recent podcast discoverer, first-time writer here. Tra-la-la. Welcome. Listen to episode 484 this morning on my way to work. I currently do not have a motorcycle. Sadness. Because the last one was stolen, and the wife says I have to buy a house first.
Oh, bloody hell.
Happy wife, happy life. Anyways, just wanted to give you some feedback from my time living in Utah. Utah has a slight form of tiered licensing in it. That is, if you don't take your test, whether MSF or DMV, and issued on a 650cc or more, your license is limited to 649 cc's or less. It's not quite the same as a full tiered licensing system, but it's something.
Yeah.
Utah also allows lane filtering now with some caveats.
Yep.
Of course,
Filtering, not splitting.
my knowledge is current as of 2020 when I left the state and moved back east. Yay, COVID and family reasons. So it's possible that it may have changed, but I digress. I retook my MSF on my then 690 Enduro. Sounds familiar. And aforementioned stolen bike. God, I love that machine. And got my card with a little stamp on it showing I did with greater than a 650cc machine. On the side, what do you think of the Ducati Panigale V2? Ever since I saw one in Rosso White,
That's a leap.
I couldn't stop lusting after it. It's a coin, but sure, it's a lot of coin, but sure,
Yeah.
damn it, it's gorgeous. That said, I live in Florida now and not sure of the custom crotch heating system. Yes, it does. Anyway, love the podcast.
I'm going to say I'm in the Ducati Panigale. I hate to get personal, but I guess it completely depends on your dick size.
What?
What?
And bank account size too,
And
maybe.
bank account size, yes. and trophy wives.
Who put the pain in Panigale? Ducati did. No, I mean they are quite expensive to
pretty.
maintain. Yes, they are very, very pretty.
Yeah.
But you know, I
Powerful.
mean, Ducati have chicaned themselves into a good position in recent years because they make bikes that they're pitching as like two-wheel Ferraris.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a stretch, but to a certain extent they are. I mean, I don't want to be down on ducks.
Yeah.
They're really more. They've got more in common with Fiats than Ferraris.
No,
but the point is thus:
Wow.
they
You just pissed off a lot of people.
No, I'm sure I did. But I'm just talking about from a quality of finish standpoint.
I have an opinion.
Yes.
I'm going to say that the Panigale, it's not a bike that interests me personally, but I think that this is a bike that is meant for the rider who truly wants a special ride.
They are quite
not
special.
so that they can go and impress people at bike night with
No,
their
no,
bike.
no.
These are people who want to have the feelies and a relationship with a very special bike. And if you can afford to, great.
However,
But I'm saying it's a personal thing, like a religion.
yeah, but
you know,
when you get to a certain level of bikes, and before people think I'm being down on ducks, R1s are the same. When you get up to the R1Ms,
yeah.
when you get to a bike that is that singular in its purpose, it's not often the most pleasant thing to ride to work.
Right.
No, this is not a commuter bike.
So, I mean, if you're doing track days and your commute is mostly sweeping A roads that you can do 100 miles an hour on, it's the perfect bike. But if you've got to ride it across town or, stuck in city traffic, you're going to hate it within 5 minutes.
I think you nailed it. If you're the type of person who would have a Ferrari as a car,
Yes.
this is the same thing.
Right, exactly. And it's not the status simple thing, but you have to understand that it's a very, very quirky, it's a very high maintenance, it's a very high performance machine. I mean, it's 200 plus horsepower out of a, very compact engine. Things are going to break.
But what is it going to do on the city streets that a Ninja 650 can't do? That's the thing.
Nothing.
And within a certain extent, I mean, if I was riding across town, I always go back to that ride we made across LA. Do you remember that rush hour ride we made in 100-degree traffic across LA?
Yeah.
I was unhappy enough on Rufus. You were just yucking it up on the Super Duke because it was the perfect tool for the job.
SMT.
The SMT, sorry.
Yeah.
The BDSM, whatever.
Well,
Yes.
the takeaway is, hey, glad you found our podcast. Thanks.
Awesome.
It's
for
not
joining
lovely,
us.
Spread the
bubbly,
word.
jubbly.
Tell everybody
All
about
right,
us.
we got time for one more.
Oh, yes,
Emma.
this is from Ken Byrne.
Hey, Ken.
Ken Burns.
Wasn't he a filmmaker?
Yes,
I think
still
he
is.
was. Yes. Dear Misfits, and especially Miss Emma. Oh, that's me.
that's you.
Ooh, I say.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
I love listening to you and Kat telling about your alpine adventure.
That's Alpine.
Alpina adventure. I desperately wanted to go with you, but my father's ill health made that kind of travel impossible this year. I'm really sorry to hear about your dad, Ken. Your announcement that you expect to do it again next year has reignited my excitement. Put me down as a yes in capital letters and not just a maybe. Write down my name, sign me up, take my money. I'm going. Also, I think I've convinced my friend Jimmy to come too. The only way I'm going to let Jimmy come is if I... Jimmy! Jimmy!
Jabba.
Yeah, Jimmy! So, there's two.
We've had more than two.
Well, hang on. My amazing wife has all but insisted that I join you on the next trip.
wow.
That's lovely. She sounds
marry
like
that
a
woman.
lovely woman. Well, no, he already has.
Marry her again.
There you go. She even plans on meeting me at the end of the ride to do some additional sightseeing together. And actually, a couple of the riders, when we all said goodbye at the Hotel Contarina on the last day, there were a few riders who stayed on and continued their journey into Switzerland and had
Well, he's got the perfect combination.
very jolly time.
He's got
Yeah.
riding in the Dolomites and Nookie at the end of
Yes.
it.
See,
No,
John.
I read that as riding the Dolomites and then a shopping excursion.
yes, he's going shoe shopping with his
He's going to
wife.
be so
Lucky guy.
teeming with testosterone. He'll be ready.
And
Yeah.
then Nookie.
See you next year, Ken, in Connecticut. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it was such a brilliant adventure. It was by far, and I was talking about it to Henry. I might have been the best holiday I ever had. It really might, and I've had some
Nice.
stonkingly good holidays in the past, but it really might because it just scratched that itch.
See, for me, vintage days.
Yeah,
This
well,
year was the best. So we're all having.
so
great-
how many? So my question to you, Liza, in just the week,
Your trip is almost filled up already from people responding. So I've been forwarding them to you, Emma.
have you
I have.
via where? Via how? Via Ask Miss Emma.
No, your other. We'll double check. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to do, Emma. I'm going to make sure all of these are forwarded to you.
Yes.
Kat has already created a sign-up website for next year's trip,
There you
even though the website and price is not locked, or the date and price is not locked in.
Right, because I mean it's flexible. We want
But this is save a spot.
right, exactly. We want everyone to have a good time. It's going to be about the same time. I mean, it's going to be sort of a July, August thing, but it's going to be the same. It's going to be similar length of riding. It's probably a 10-day holiday, of which 8 days is going to be on the bike. Same spot.
If you do August, I might come.
Well, you know, it's unfortunately the flights are at their most expensive then. However, here's a heads up for everyone out there in listener land. Once we have locked in the date, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get Kat to lock in the date before the end of January. If you buy flights midwinter, you pay less. So my advice, once we've locked in the date, get your flight. So Patrick paid $3,000 round trip for the same trip that I paid $1,200 for. Why?
Wow.
Because I bought mine in March, I think, and he bought his a month before. So, you know, we'll try and lock in that date. And once we've done that, get your flights. But I stand by. In fact, I will revise what I said, because I said you could do the whole trip if you were clever with your flights, including booze and food and bikes and hotels and everything. Literally, the amount that will be missing from your bank account. I said I could do it for $5,000, and I think that was wrong. I think you could do it for $4,000. If you're clever with your flight. Okay. It all boils down to the flight. But if you don't mind sharing a room and you don't drink gallons of beer.
And tap water.
No, I don't think. No, but okay. I think you could have a very, very jolly holiday for $4,000. For $5,000, you're gonna live like a king and queen.
You just got to find the local bar to have your beer.
No shortage of local bars in Canada. Trust me.
So Emma, you need to get with Kat. You need to come up with.
I'm gonna call him on my way home.
I'll make sure you have all the emails, all the people that are interested, so you can reach out to them.
Oh, cheers!
And then I have one last shout out I want to do, and that is to Daniel at Broken Arrow Horse Camp in Custer. Daniel's a listener of ours,
yes.
And so whenever I go out to Custer to visit Michelle, I always drop in. I did it again this time. I dropped in, walked up and said, I'm here to see a man about a horse. Now, he runs a campground. It's a horse campground. People with horses, like these giant RV trailer things that has a horse thing at the end of it. It's like amazing, like a home and a horse and a barn all in one. And then he has...
It's a horse hauler.
It's a horse... Well, it's an RV horse hauler. And he has a horse... camp that has a ring and a washing station and trails and like all this stuff, but it's also campgrounds and cabins, and anyone can stay there. So some of the girls from our rally were staying there.
Oh,
so
that's
great.
What's his name?
Daniel.
Daniel, did you bring him a carrot?
So I always go and say hi, and he shows me what's in his garage.
I bet he shows you what's in his trousers.
You know what he had? And he said, he was showing me what he had in his garage. And he's like, you're welcome to use it when you're here if you want.
What do we have?
I should have. I think I will next time. VMAX.
Oh, great.
That would be fun.
Gen 1?
Cool.
Gen 2, I think. No,
Did it look...
no, Gen 1.
Gen 1, yeah. So it
But it's
didn't
not.
look...
It's not from the 80s. It's newer than that.
Yeah, I mean, the Gen 1
Yeah.
lasted right up until like whenever, 2010
So
or
yeah. So I
something.
just wanted to say hi to Daniel.
Yeah.
It was good seeing him there. So,
Anybody who likes motorbikes and horses is okay with me.
Yeah, there's
Are you
some-
listening, Mike Beck?
there's some cool stuff out there. And then again, my last, not almost second to last thank you was to Emma for running the shop today.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like this is how it works. You go away, and I'm helping
Well-
in the shop, and
I'm going away in 2 weeks.
I know you are.
She helped me a lot today, too, by the way.
So
I
hopefully
really
Hindered.
I'm going to be
Helped.
relying on all of you, including you, Bagel, because you
yeah?
all need to come up with shows. And I'm hoping you all work together to come up with some shows.
No, we're gonna. Our first show is going to be entitled "What to Do When a Hardcore Scooterist Goes Rogue and Buys a Motorbike." That's the entitlement of the first show.
I think I can fit a leg shield onto it here, and maybe I can cut the frame to make a step-through
You know,
design.
I think actually buying a motorbike that is exactly the same color as your beard is an inspired choice, Bagel.
Yeah.
I really do.
Right on.
Well, I went for it because it's the same color as the Trail 110, but
Oh, I see.
And of course, the last thank you that I always do is to our Patreon subscribers.
Who
Yes.
are easily the finest human beings on the planet and worthy of, they are on a pedestal just watching the rest of the world go by.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you very much to you guys. Hey, again, I have shirts for sale. Go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com and you can find in the shop there. I shipped out another shirt last week.
And buy a mug with me in bed with the Yamaha as well.
That is on our Zazzle page.
Zazzle.
Yes, exactly. So I think we're ready to get out of here. Big thanks to our guest for coming on and talking about that.
Yeah,
it's
I
nice to
mean-
kind of get into some real meaty topics and also realizing how that can spread. They were trying to spread it across the country.
And, and that's a very, very important thing to note. Federal stuff affects us all. Doesn't always start off as federal stuff. They'll kind of say, well, how did it work in this state and how? So state stuff becomes federal stuff. So it's very, very easy for us in California. Yeah, hey, we're leading this halcyon life in California where we can lane split and it's always sunny. New York doesn't affect us. Yes, it does.
Right.
Because
and California. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, well, oftentimes federal law makers will look at somewhere like New York for statistics and conveniently look the other way when it comes to California in order to prove their point. So if you want statistics that motorcyclists are fundamental lawbreakers and the statistics from California don't show that, well, guess what? You're going to conveniently not look at California and you'll look at somewhere like New York where the cops have made it so that it appears that motorcycles are lawbreakers.
Well, I'm going to say also, I mean, I've known Mike for years and working at the AMA. And
Right.
I'm just going to be honest. I just thought a lot of the stuff he's doing is kind of boring and not that interesting until I really just got into it and realized, no, there's something here. So now I think I'm going to start bugging him about what else he's working on.
Yeah, and I mean, I stand by what I said. We're not a political podcast. We're not a podcast about horses either, as funny as they are, or donkeys biting you on the lip.
No, but
as funny as that is, I thought it was a herpes.
no, it's a donkey bite.
It's a donkey. Well,
It's a Durkeys.
it's a durkey. You should
Okay,
you
move
should
it on.
glue a
Move
cornflake on that thing.
Grow a cornflake.
So anyway, no, we're a motorcycling podcast. I would never tell people to vote for this candidate or this candidate or this candidate, but I cannot stress how important it is to maintain what lifestyle we have and what rights we have as bikers join AMA. If you're in England, join the Motorcycle Action Group. Whoever is representing bikers in your country, get involved. Even if it's just writing them a check once in a while, get involved.
And even if you don't, aside from that, just get involved in advocacy issues. Like if you're a rider in California who loves lane splitting, write to legislatures in other states and who are considering lane splitting bills and say, hey, I've been doing this for years and years. It works great. It's a great way to alleviate traffic congestion. It's safe, as long as everyone does it properly, and it's, there's a role that everyone can play in this.
Well, good. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that show. That was our public service announcement show, I think.
I feel so.
All right. I think we're ready to get
our pubic service announcement.
I think we're really ready to get out of here.
I could be rude too.
Thanks, everyone. This is Liza.
Emma, darling.
Stumpy John.
Bagel.
And we are out of here.
Cool.
Cool.